Leo wiped the sweat from his forehead as he stared up at the broken relay tower. The heat on the frontier planet, Zorana 7, was harsh even at night. His shirt was damp. His hands were stained with grease and dust. All he wanted was to fix the signal and return to the colony dorm for a hot meal and some rest. But the tower was old, much older than anything he had seen before. Its base was not made of metal or concrete. Instead, strange black stone coiled around it like it had grown from the ground. Leo knelt and ran his fingers across the surface. Ancient carvings glowed faintly beneath layers of dust. "This isn't standard tech," he whispered. His tools sparked as he reconnected the final cable. The panel lit up, and then something strange happened. The tower shook. A pulse of blue light burst into the sky, forming a ring of energy that shimmered above him like a beacon. Leo stepped back in shock. He didn't call for help. He didn't press any emergency button. But something had responded. Before he could move. The wind picked up, howling through the empty hills. Thunder cracked in the sky, even though no clouds were there a moment ago. The energy ring expanded. The air smelled like burning ozone. Then the ground near the tower split open. A soft glow rose from the crack. A shadow stepped forward, tall and slender, wrapped in armor that looked like it had survived 100 battles. Flames circled around her boots but didn't burn the ground. She had no helmet. Her face was marked with strange symbols. Her skin was bronze gold, and her eyes glowed faint orange, sharp and focused. Her long black hair moved in the wind even when there was no breeze. Leo froze. The woman raised her chin and looked straight at him. "You summoned me, human?" she said. Her voice was calm, but powerful, like a blade drawn from a sheath. Leo blinked. I don't know what I did. I was just fixing a relay tower." She tilted her head. "You touched the core. You released the seal. That makes you the summoner." He took a step back. "Wait, this was an accident. Nothing awakens me by accident." The flames around her calmed. She walked closer. Her armor clanked softly with every step. Leo noticed strange energy lines running across her arms and chest like fire frozen in crystal. "Who are you?" he asked. "I am Caritha of the First Flame," she answered. "I was sealed here long ago to protect this world. And now, you have called me." Leo felt like the air around him had changed. Everything seemed heavier, more real, like history itself was staring at him. "This place, our colony, we thought it was just a mining world," Leo said. "No one said anything about ancient guardians." "That's because your people forgot," Caritha said. "They build and break, always rushing. They never look beneath their own feet." Leo frowned. "If I'm really the one who summoned you, what happens now?" Caritha looked to the sky. The energy ring above them began to fade. "There is danger below," she said. "Something dark sleeps here just like I did. But unlike me, it has no vow to protect. If it wakes, your colony will fall." Leo's stomach dropped. "You mean I started something bad?" "You started something old," she replied. "But maybe just in time." Suddenly, alarms rang out from the distance. Red lights flashed across the hills. Leo grabbed his comm device and listened. Screams. Reports of creatures crawling from the ground near the main colony walls. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Caritha turned toward the colony's direction. She didn't wait. She began walking, fast fire rising along her arms. "They come," Leo followed. "Who? What are they?" "Machines born of hunger, left from an ancient war. They have no soul, only instinct. The seal I guarded was their prison." Leo's heart pounded. "Can we stop them?" She looked at him briefly. "With fire and faith. But I will need help." Leo had never held a weapon in his life. He was a technician, not a soldier. But something about her presence gave him strength. Maybe it was the fire. Maybe it was her calm, focused voice. Or maybe it was the fear of letting his people die. He nodded. "I'll help, whatever it takes." Caritha stopped. She turned toward him, her eyes narrowing slightly as if testing him. "You are brave," she said. "That matters. But bravery alone is not enough. If you wish to stand beside me, you must be ready for what is to come." She raised her hand and a small flame leapt from her palm. It floated between them like a living spark. Leo stared at it. It did not burn. But it was warm. It felt alive. "This is not just a war," Caritha said. "It is a test. For me, and now for you." The flame entered Leo's chest. He gasped. It didn't hurt, but it lit something deep inside him. An energy. A connection. For a moment he felt her thoughts, her memories, her battles, her loneliness, and then it was gone. Caritha nodded. "Now we are bound." The wind stopped. The stars above were clear. And somewhere deep underground, something old had begun to stir. The fire inside Leo had not faded. It pulsed gently in his chest like a second heartbeat. He could feel it whenever he moved, warm and steady, like a quiet voice whispering, "Stand strong." He followed Caritha through the rocky hills toward the colony. The path was rough, but she walked without fear, her eyes always forward. Her armor glowed faintly in the night, and the fire along her arms had gone quiet, but it never disappeared. As they walked, Leo asked, "What are you really? You said you were sealed here. But why?" Caritha did not slow down. Her voice came softly. "Long ago, before your people had ships or cities, the galaxy was ruled by fire and steel. My kind were called the Wardens. We were guardians created to keep the balance between war and peace." Leo looked at her with surprise. "Created? So, you're not born like us?" "We were born from flame and purpose," she said. "Each Warden was linked to a world. I was linked to this one, Zorana." Leo looked back toward the relay tower in the distance, now silent again. "And the signal I activated, that was your prison?" She nodded. "A prison, yes, but also a warning. I was placed in sleep to stop something dark from escaping. That signal was not meant to be touched, but fate brought you there." "I didn't mean to do it," Leo said. "I was just doing my job." "Sometimes the greatest changes begin by accident," Caritha replied. They reached the colony's edge. Smoke rose in the distance. Bright red lights blinked on towers. Security drones hovered above the gates and guards stood alert with rifles in hand. A tall officer named Captain Rourke approached. He pointed at Caritha. "Who's this?" "What kind of alien is she?" Leo stepped forward. "She's not the enemy. She saved me." Rourke narrowed his eyes. "She looks like a walking weapon." "She is," Caritha answered. "But I do not fight unless I must." Rourke didn't seem convinced. "The council won't like this." Leo raised his voice. "Sir, please listen. Creatures attacked the lower mining zone. She says more are coming. She's trying to help." Another guard ran over and whispered something in Rourke's ear. The officer's face turned pale. "We've got multiple breaches in Sector 6, he said. "Miners reported machines crawling out of the tunnels. We already lost 2 teams. Caritha looked calm. "It has begun." Rourke finally gave in. "All right, she comes with us, but she stays under watch." Leo and Caritha moved through the colony. Children peeked from windows. Workers froze in place when they saw her. Some whispered in fear, others stared with awe. Caritha didn't react. She walked with honor, like a silent flame. They entered the control center. The colony council had gathered. They were older people dressed in black and silver. One of them, a woman named Director Halden, stood to speak. "You brought an alien warrior into our home," she said to Leo. "This is dangerous." "She's not the danger," Leo answered. "What's under this planet is." Caritha stepped forward. "Your ancestors once knew the truth. They built this colony over ancient ground that holds monsters created in a war that was never meant to be remembered." Halden frowned. "What kind of monsters?" Caritha raised her hand and formed a small image from flame. A beast appeared, a creature made of steel and bone, with sharp claws and eyes that glowed red. Its body looked like a spider, but its size was that of a small ship. These were called the burrowers, she said. Machines that feed on energy. They were built to destroy cities, dig through worlds, and harvest cores. But they became too wild. The last war sealed them away. And now they're waking up, Leo added. Because of the signal. Halden's face darkened. Then we're already too late. Caritha shook her head. Not yet, but soon. That night the colony worked fast. Guards were placed at tunnel openings. Families were moved to higher shelters. Drones were sent to scan the deeper mines. Caritha remained near the control center, standing like a statue. But Leo saw her hands sometimes curl into fists. She was preparing herself. Later, Leo brought her food. She sat by a quiet fire outside the council chamber. The stars above were bright, and the sky was clear. "You don't eat?" he asked. "I don't need to," she said. "But I remember the taste." He sat beside her. "You're kind. Are they all like you?" She looked at the flames. "No. Most are gone. The wardens fell during the last age. I may be the last who still answers the call." Leo was quiet for a moment. "That must feel lonely." "It is," she said simply. Leo looked at his hands. "Back on Earth, we tell stories about heroes, people who fight to protect others. I used to think they were just stories. But now, sitting next to you, I think maybe they're real." Caritha gave him a small smile. It was the first time he had seen any softness in her expression. Heroes are not born. They are chosen by their choices. Suddenly a siren rang out. Red lights flashed again. A voice shouted over the intercom. "Breach at Tunnel Gate 3. Repeat, multiple hostiles detected underground." Caritha stood quickly. "They're moving faster than I expected." Leo got to his feet. "Let me come with you." She turned toward him. "You are brave, Leo. But this is not your fight." "It is now," he said. "You said I called you. That means we stand together." Caritha looked at him for a moment, then nodded. "Then stay close, and do not lose the fire." They ran toward the gate as explosions echoed in the distance. The battle for Zorana 7 had begun. The ground shook beneath their feet as Leo and Caritha ran through the narrow metal hall toward Tunnel Gate 3. Alarm lights flashed red along the walls. Shouts and warnings echoed over the intercom, mixing with the rumble of distant explosions. When they reached the gate, smoke was pouring out from the tunnel entrance. 2 guards were already down. A third fired his weapon wildly into the darkness, but something large grabbed him from behind and dragged him screaming into the tunnel. Leo froze in fear. Caritha didn't. Her eyes glowed bright orange as she stepped forward. Her arm flared with flame and she raised her weapon, a long energy spear that had not been there a moment before. It formed from her own fire, solid and sharp, humming with power. "Back away," she said to the remaining soldiers. "This tunnel belongs to me now." Without waiting, she leapt into the smoke. Leo hesitated. He could hear metal screeching, walls cracking, and the sound of something crawling fast. He clenched his fists, swallowed his fear, and followed. Inside, the tunnel was hot and filled with dust. Pipes burst, lights flickered, shadows moved along the walls. He saw Caritha dancing through them, her spear slicing through creatures made of jagged metal, with red eyes and clawed legs. They looked like insects, but larger, stronger, and smarter. One of them leapt toward her. She rolled to the side, sliced through its leg, and then drove her spear into its core. It exploded into blue sparks. Leo picked up a dropped rifle. He had barely used one before, but now he had no choice. A creature turned toward him, hissing with an awful screech. Leo fired. The shot hit its eye, stunning it. Caritha finished it with a single thrust. "You fight well for someone untrained," she said. "I learn fast under pressure," he shouted. Suddenly, the ground cracked again. A large hole opened behind them, and more creatures crawled out. These were different. bigger with armor plates and glowing spines. They moved like a pack working together. Caritha's eyes narrowed. They've adapted. She raised her other hand and a wall of fire burst from her palm, blocking the tunnel behind them. It didn't stop the creatures, but it slowed them down. She grabbed Leo's shoulder. We must go deeper. We need to find where they're coming from and seal it. Leo coughed through the smoke. Are you saying go toward the danger? Yes, she said. That's what protectors do. They move deeper into the tunnels, the sounds of battle echoing behind them. Caritha's flame lit the way. She walked like a hunter, fast and focused. Leo stayed close, trying not to trip over broken metal or fallen tools. After some time, they reached a massive chamber beneath the colony. The ceiling was cracked open and strange blue crystals glowed along the walls. In the center, a large pit pulsed with light, and from it, more creatures kept crawling out one by one. Leo gasped. It's a nest. Caritha nodded. This is the source, the main breach. Leo looked around. How do we stop it? Caritha held up her spear and pointed toward the crystals. These stones feed them. They absorb power and use it to grow. If we destroy the crystals, the energy flow will stop. Leo looked at the nearest one. How do we destroy them? With fire, she said simply. Caritha jumped into action. She slammed her spear into the first crystal. It cracked, then exploded in a burst of sparks. The nearby creatures screeched in pain, stumbling as if their minds were hit. Leo found a metal rod and used it to smash another crystal. It wasn't easy, but it worked. Bit by bit, the chamber grew darker. The energy was fading. But then the pit pulsed again, and something huge began to rise. A massive creature, twice the size of the others, climbed from the hole. Its body was covered in armor plates. Its head had no eyes, just a mouth filled with metal teeth. Its roar shook the chamber. Caritha stepped in front of Leo. That is a war beast, a leader. If we don't stop it here, it will destroy the colony. Leo looked around. We're not ready for this. She turned to him, her face calm. We have to be. The beast charged. Caritha raised both hands, and a wall of fire exploded in front of it, forcing it to stop. She threw her spear, which pierced its shoulder. The creature howled but didn't fall. Leo grabbed a damaged mining drone and rewired its battery. He turned it into a small explosive and threw it under the beast. It exploded beneath its legs, throwing it off balance. Caritha used the moment to leap onto its back. Her armor glowed like the sun. She struck with her fists, burning through its thick shell. The beast shook and roared, trying to throw her off. Leo didn't stay still. He kept throwing tools, wires, anything sharp he could find to distract it. Finally, Caritha found the weak spot behind its neck. With a loud cry, she drove her flaming blade deep into its core. The beast screamed once more, then collapsed. The chamber grew silent. The remaining creatures scattered and vanished into the cracks. Without their leader and the crystals, they could no longer fight. Leo dropped to the ground, panting. We did it! Caritha stood over the fallen beast. Her armor was cracked. Her flame had dimmed. But she nodded. Yes, for now. They slowly returned to the surface. The guards cheered when they saw them alive. The council arrived, surprised to see the nest had been stopped. Caritha looked at the crowd. This is not the end. There may be more nests, more dangers. But your people can survive. You only need to remember that courage and unity are stronger than fear. Leo smiled. And maybe we're stronger together. Caritha looked at him with quiet pride. For the first time, she didn't feel alone. The colony was quiet after the battle. Smoke still rose from damaged areas, but the skies were clear again. People walked slowly through the streets, repairing what they could and checking on neighbors. The fear had not fully left, but something new had taken its place, hope. Leo stood on the balcony of the command center, looking out at the horizon. His body was tired, his hands bruised, but he felt more alive than ever. Beside him, Caritha stood in silence. Her armor was scratched. Some parts were missing. The flames on her arms had dimmed. "You're hurt," Leo said. "I will heal," she replied. "My body was built for war. But even machines need repair," he added. Caritha looked at him, a strange softness in her eyes. "I'm not just a machine, Leo. I may have been created, but I have feelings, memories, choices." Leo nodded. "I believe that. You've shown more heart than many humans I've met." She turned to face the distance again. "There is something you must know. The battle we fought, it was only the beginning." Leo's chest tightened. "You mean the other creatures?" Caritha nodded. "Yes. That nest was one of many. Long ago, during the Great Flame War, these creatures were spread across many worlds. Not all of them were sealed properly. Some may be waking now." Leo felt a heavy silence fall between them. "So, what do we do?" "There is a way," Caritha said. "A deeper bond, a flame forge." He looked confused. "What is that?" "It is a ritual," she explained. "If a human willingly accepts a part of my soul flame, we become linked. Not just in battle, but in thought, in strength, in purpose. Together, we become more than we are alone." Leo took a step back. "Is it safe?" She shook her head. "It is dangerous. Most humans cannot survive the bond. Their bodies reject the flame. But you carry a spark already. When you awakened me, you touched the old light. That makes you different." Leo stayed quiet for a moment, thinking deeply. His heart beat faster. He remembered how he felt during the fight, the fire inside him, the connection, the courage. He looked up and said, "I'll do it. If it means saving more lives, I'll take the risk." Caritha nodded once, slowly. "Then come. We must go to the fire chamber." They traveled to a cave system outside the colony. Inside, the walls were covered in glowing symbols. At the center stood a small stone platform, surrounded by 4 tall crystal pillars. "This is where I was born," Caritha said softly. "This is where I was sealed. And now, it will be where we forge the bond." Leo stepped onto the platform. "What do I have to do?" Caritha raised both hands. Fire slowly gathered around her, floating upward like golden dust. Her voice became deeper, fuller, almost echoing. "You must let go of fear. You must accept me. Not just my power, but my memories, my pain, my past." Leo took a deep breath and nodded. The flames rushed toward him. At first it felt warm, then it grew hotter. His knees buckled. Images flashed in his mind. Caritha's old battles, her lonely days sealed in darkness, the war she couldn't stop, the faces of allies long gone. He saw what she had seen. He felt her sadness, her strength, her desire to protect life. His body shook. His eyes watered. But he did not fall. Then the fire sank into his chest. He gasped, dropping to one knee. But the flame did not hurt him now. It wrapped around him like armor, like a promise. Caritha knelt beside him. Her own fire dimmed, as if she had passed a part of herself into him. "It is done," she whispered. Leo opened his eyes. He felt different, stronger, connected. He could feel Caritha's presence even without looking at her. He stood up slowly. "I'm still me, but more." Caritha nodded. "Now, we are flame-forged." Back at the colony, things were changing fast. Scouts had found another tunnel crack nearby. Creatures had not risen yet, but the signs were there. The council gathered again. "This planet is not safe," Director Halden said. "We should evacuate." Rourke disagreed. "We have defenses now, we have them." He pointed at Caritha and Leo. "They can't fight everywhere," another council member added. Caritha stepped forward. "No, but we can stop the source." We believe the main core, the root of the infection, is buried under Mount Doran. Leo followed her lead. If we destroy the root, the other nests will weaken, Halden asked. How far is it? 3 days on foot, Caritha said. No roads, rough terrain, and we must go quietly. If the creatures sense us, they will gather, Leo said. Then we leave at dawn. Halden looked at them, uncertain. If you fail, the colony will fall. Caritha raised her chin. Then we will not fail. That night, Leo sat outside the dorms, looking at the stars. Caritha sat beside him, silent as always. He turned to her. Do you ever wonder what peace feels like? She thought for a moment. I had one moment of peace, many years ago. A child I protected gave me a flower. Just one. She smiled and said I was her hero. Leo smiled. You are a hero. Caritha looked at him. So are you now. They sat in silence. For the first time, neither of them felt alone. The sun had barely risen when Leo and Caritha began their journey toward Mount Doran. The path was harsh. Steep rocks, loose soil, and thorny bushes blocked the way. The cold morning air stung Leo's skin, but the fire inside his chest kept him warm. It pulsed like a heartbeat, steady and strong. Caritha walked beside him, her armor shining faintly even in the weak light. She moved with purpose, but Leo could see the weariness in her eyes. The long days of battle and the bond ritual had taken a toll. As they climbed higher, the landscape changed. Trees became sparse. The air smelled of ash. Cracks in the ground let out faint smoke. It was clear they were close to the source of the danger. Suddenly, a low growl echoed from behind a rock. Leo stopped. Caritha raised her spear, ready. A creature stepped into the light. It was unlike any they had seen before, larger. With thick black armor and glowing red eyes, its limbs ended in sharp claws and it moved with surprising speed. Leo's heart pounded. The creature hissed and charged. Caritha met it head-on, her spear blazing. The two clashed like fire against metal. Leo scrambled to find a weapon. He picked up a heavy branch and threw it, distracting the beast just long enough for Caritha to strike. The creature fell, but more emerged from the shadows, smaller, but just as fierce. Leo fired his rifle, but ammunition was low. Caritha roared and released a wave of fire, pushing the creatures back. She turned to Leo. We cannot fight them all. We must reach the summit. They ran. At the mountain's peak, a cavern gaped open like a wound. Inside, a glowing orb pulsed with blue light. The root of the infection. Caritha stepped forward, her face serious. This is what feeds the creatures. Destroy it, and their power ends. Leo looked around. How? She lifted her spear high. With fire, the purest flame. Leo nodded, feeling the flame inside him stir. Together they approached the orb. The ground trembled. The creatures sensed their presence and poured into the cavern like a flood. Caritha fought fiercely, her spear a blur of light. Leo supported her, firing when he could, protecting her from the creatures. At last, they reached the orb. Caritha struck first. Her spear pierced the orb's surface. The blue light flickered and then began to crack. Leo took a deep breath. He stepped forward and placed his hand on the orb. The flame inside him connected with the orb's energy. He focused, every ounce of strength. The orb shattered in a burst of light. The creatures howled in pain. Their strength faded. One by one, they collapsed. Caritha and Leo stood side by side, victorious but exhausted. The mountain began to calm. The sky cleared. The danger had passed. Back at the colony, word spread fast. Leo and Caritha returned, as heroes. The people cheered for the warrior and the human who stood with her. Director Halden approached Leo. You saved us all. Leo smiled. We saved each other. Caritha looked at Leo. The flame between us will never die. Leo nodded. And together we'll protect this world. That night, Leo sat by the fire, the flame inside him gentle now. Caritha sat close. You changed everything, human. He looked at her. No, you changed me. The stars shone bright, above. The fire burned warm. Together they watched the sky, ready for whatever the future might bring.